In this video, I'm going to show you 3 different ways to approach setting up a scene in Camo Studio for iPad. Let's get right into it. The first and easiest way to get a scene going is to use an existing scene template. The iPad comes loaded with a few template scenes that you can set up to stream in less than 30 seconds. Camo Studio for iPad has been really popular for use with the Switch, so that's what I'll be demoing with today. This diagram shows how to bring your Switch game view into the iPad using a capture card. So get everything connected and then let's get back to the iPad. Open up the left-hand navigation menu and hit the first icon to open up your primary source settings. We're going to set this one to our capture card. So for type, we'll choose external video source and then select your capture card. Since this is a default template, it's already set to full screen, but if you've resized it somehow, you can always just double tap to take it back to full screen again. Tap the second video icon to configure our secondary source settings. It should be already set to the front ultra-wide camera, so let's just turn on auto framing to keep my face centered and zoom the camera in a little tighter for a face cam. Go to the Layers tab to remove any unwanted elements, and this classic picture-in-picture stream scene is ready to go for you. Alternatively, if you just want to stream with one camera, you can turn off your secondary camera source. The face cam and the circle are now gone from the scene to just show your gameplay. The second way to set up a scene on Camo Studio for iPad is to use a web overlay, which is a popular tool for adding dynamic content and functionality to your stream and can really level up the viewing experience for your audience. If you're interested in learning more about web overlays and how you can put them to use, let us know in the comments below and we can plan a follow-up video. While there are many different types of web overlays, I wanted to highlight the full scene options that make it really easy to get up and running for a stream or a recording. Our friends at Stream Elements have great overlay pack options that I'm demoing with today that cover all of the scenes you would need for a full live stream. To use these overlays, hit Use Theme Package to generate links for the overlays. Copy the link from Stream Elements and then go back to Camo Studio for iPad. Pop open the left-hand navigation and tap on the Layers tab to open up the scene editing tools. Hit the plus button to add the web overlay. Paste your overlay link into the web address form. Hit Submit, and your overlay will now appear as part of your scene. Web overlays can be resized and rearranged with other elements in your scene, which I'll dive into in part 3 of this video, but for now, we'll just double tap to take this one to fill the canvas. These label boxes in the web overlay can be configured to show things like latest follower or subscriber, and the cool thing is that as you gain a follower or a subscriber during a stream, the overlay will update to show their username, so it's a really cool way to interact with your audience. Now let's finish setting up this scene. My game view can fill this bigger window, so select the primary video source layer to resize the Switch video and place it into the frame. Go to the secondary video source tab to add back a face cam, which will go in this smaller box. If you don't see the camera at first, remember that we added a layer on top of the videos, so it's just being covered by the web overlay right now. Go back to the Layers tab and select the secondary video source, and you'll see the handlebars for the video show up in the preview window. And now that the layer is selected, it's a lot easier to pick up and move around and resize. This video layer editing menu is also where you can change the shape of your video frame from a circle to a rectangle and vice versa. This purple box under my face cam is configured as a chat box, which will show my Twitch chat as I'm streaming. We've had a lot of questions about how to add comments or chat to a stream, and using web overlays is the easiest way. Repeat these steps for each of the scenes in the overlay pack that you want to use, and now you're all set with the full scene pack with the essential stream scenes ready to go live. The third way to set up a scene in Camo Studio for iPad is completely from scratch using your own media and assets. So if you're the creative type that likes to start with a blank slate, like me, this one is going to appeal to you. To get to a blank canvas, set a new scene and then turn off your camera sources for now until we're ready to bring them back in. When starting with a blank slate, I like to start with the background image first. You can use any media type that your iPad can support as your scene background. I'm just going to go with this pink and purple night sky background to set the vibes. You can also check out the integrated background gallery for inspiration and ideas. Now I'm going to add back my game view since it's going to take up most of the screen real estate. And I'm just going to leave it in the middle for now until I finish adding the rest of my assets. I know I have 2 web overlays that I want to use, so I'm going to go ahead and bring them into the scene so I can see where I want to place them around the game. The web overlays we covered in the previous section were full scene overlays. The two I'm using for this part of the video are smaller individual standalone elements, or stream elements, as one might say. This one is a widget that shows my follower goal progress. Use handlebars or pinch/unpinch to resize, and I'm just going to move it to roughly where I want it to go for now. The second web overlay I'm using for this scene is a labels overlay that shows my latest follower, subscriber, and cheers. In case you missed my joke earlier, both of these overlays are also from our friends at Stream Elements, where you can use their handy editor to customize your overlays. They also have many types of overlay assets to choose from. We've already seen some of their full theme packs, labels, and widgets, but they also have cam boxes, alerts, and much more that can give you new and fun ways to engage your audience while streaming. Now that both of my web overlays have been added, I can fine-tune the sizing and positioning a bit more. Next up, we're going to add some text to the scene. Since I know the text that I'm adding is a web address to show my Twitch channel, I'm going to go ahead and expand the text window to make sure it's long enough. If your text seems to be cut off from your scene, try using the handlebars to expand the area around your text until it shows up. Next step is to pick a font. Font settings are in the expanded text menu in the left-hand navigation. Our font chooser conveniently shows you each font as you scroll through to find the right one for you. I'm using Futura today because I'm team sans serif and it goes well with the other sans serif fonts already in my scene. After we set a font, it's time to pick a color for the text. I'm using the color dropper tool to pick up this orange to match my followers widget, but you can also set your color using the grid, spectrum, or sliders view. Hex code option also available. To demo a few more of the text settings, you can change your alignment and font size from the text menu. After we're happy with how our text looks, I'm going to place my channel address here along the bottom edge of the scene to complement the goal widget. And now it's feeling like my scene is really coming together. Since I have about 70% of the assets I want to use on my scene now added, I'll make tiny fine-tuning adjustments for size, placement, and opacity, which is a nice feature for adding a touch of subtlety to any element. Now that my borders are set, let's get the star of the show properly sized and placed. I like for my game view to take up at least 75% of the full screen. From the primary settings menu in the layers tab, I'll add a tiny bit of rounding to my game view corners. Now let's just add a couple of little more items to fully round out the scene. We have a starry night sky background going on, so I'm going to do a logo constellation concept. Hit the plus button to add an image from your photo library or files. In version 1.1, when you bring in an image, it's default set to a 16:9 aspect ratio. So you'll want to long press your image and open the arrange window. From here, unlock the aspect ratio and adjust your image. Then I recommend relocking the aspect ratio after you're happy with it so it stays at the right scale. Now this looks like a pretty big size for a logo, but I'm going to turn down the opacity super low so it's a lot more subtle. And for the final piece of the scene, let's turn our secondary camera back on for a face camera. I'm going to remove my background so that it looks like I'm floating on top of the game a little bit. This way, I'm not covering up the game view with things in my background. And there it is. Here's the stream scene we've set up from a completely blank slate. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. The great thing about Camo Studio for iPad is that there's not one right or wrong way to do something. It's all about adding flexibility and mobility into your content creation workflow so you can find what works best for you. What's your process for setting up scenes for streaming? I'd love to know in the comments, and check out some of our other videos on Camo Studio for iPad. See you in the next video.